If you're confused about which product management resources actually work in 2025 and how to actually get started, then this video will save you months of trial and error. I've done my research from free resources to $12 per month courses to $800 premium packages. And I'm about to tell you the truth of what actually works and what actually gets you hired. Let's begin. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Raheel. I'm an entrepreneur and a product leader currently living and working in Dubai. So if you think about preparing for product management, that entire prep space has become really complicated because there are so many options. You have articles, you have books, you have Lenny's newsletters, you have courses like Exponent, Product Alliance, and so much more. It can actually get quite overwhelming, right? And especially since product management has become such a critical skill in the AI era. So I thought, what are the best resources out there? So I did my research and I'm going to share my top 3 recommendations with you. And I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons. I'm going to talk about the budget and I'm going to talk about how they're going to suit it to your career goals. So without further ado, let's dive in. So, all right, let me start with Exponent, which is probably the most talked about, budget friendly product management course starting at $144 annually. Here's what you get when you subscribe for Exponent. You get about 7 sections that cover PM fundamentals to behavior interviews. There's about 50 mock interview videos that feature actual fun PMs. There's an interactive question database with company specific questions from Amazon, Meta, Google. You get a lot of peer-to-peer mock interviews, which I think is the biggest value proposition that they have to offer. And then you get access to their private Slack community, which I think, again, is quite powerful. And when you talk about the user experience, I read a Google associate product manager who specifically mentioned that Exponent was really good in visualizing and seeing the theoretical frameworks that we study in product management bring to life, which makes it quite theoretical, but at the same time quite powerful. As for the pros, Exponent is highly budget friendly. Okay, it's just $144. You get tons of content, right? But at the same time, they also have a really huge following on their YouTube channel, and their YouTube content is gold, and it's available to everyone for free, right? They also show you frameworks that are used in mock interviews, and finally, they have a really good active community for peer interviews and just mentoring. But at the same time, there's a lot of cons to it as well. Number one, the technical depth. If you're preparing for a technical product management role, I did not find really strong content there. I thought generically it worked, but technically the frameworks were quite vague and were quite weak. But on the other side, the content that you pay for, 60 to 80% of it is already available online. So now the question is, the value proposition of peer-to-peer interviews, the active Slack community, is it worth the $144? That really depends on where you are in your career, right? But I was only able to find these 2 cons for Exponent. Then the question arises, who should use Exponent? Now, overall, this is helpful for people who are actually just getting started with product management interviews. If you're an intern, if you're a new grad, if you really want to just get yourself familiar with how product management interviews actually work, then Exponent is a really good place to start. If you are constrained on your budget, if you don't have a lot of time, if you really want to get started with the fundamentals, then I would highly recommend to get started with Exponent. Now, if you're a senior PM or you've been working in the field for 3 to 4 years, I don't think you'll get a lot of value out of it, right? Especially if you're targeting companies like ByteDance, TikTok, Microsoft, Magnificent Seven. These courses actually lack the depth, the experiential depth of preparing for a senior level role. So I really think that for someone who is later down the line in their careers, this course will not add a lot of value in your product management interview prep journey. So my recommendation is, if you're just starting off with your PM journey and your budget is tight, then start with their YouTube channel, start free, and then once you're ready to do some mock interviews, pay for their package, get their annual package, and get started. So my next recommendation is mainly for mid-level to senior level, okay? Because Exponent is not going to work for you. And now the question is, what should you guys do? But lucky for you, I tested Exponent, I tested PM exercises, I tested Product Alliance, and without a doubt, Product Alliance emerged as the winner. Now, one thing that I really realized is, to break into Meta, Google, Facebook, you really have to get into the company specific prep, okay? And that's what Product Alliance does really well. They have courses on Amazon. If you want to break into Uber, they have a course for it. If you want to break into Amazon or Meta, they have company-specific courses for these companies. And that makes the entire experience different and extremely powerful. The entire course library starts at $850, which is, I guess, decently priced. But now the question is it really worth it? So let's talk about what makes Product Alliance different. And in simple words, it's insider knowledge. Because every single content that they actually create is in collaboration with insiders, with 12 plus PM directors, PM leads, and hiring managers of that specific company. And what that does is basically gives you an overview of how the company is thinking about its future growth for the next 10 years, and how it's actually thinking about integrating new products into its company. So, for example, what is Meta strategy with Llama, and how they're thinking about integrating AI into their existing product line, or what is TikTok's unique strategy to lock in content creators and how to make a very addictive feed, right? So this sort of content that goes really deep is very difficult to find unless and until you don't have the inside knowledge. Then, along with these insights, Product Alliance also provides you with updated question banks that PMs are receiving in their interviews. And if you look at the stats, over 40 to 50% of the PMs actually get the same questions that they prepared for by taking Product Alliance courses. And that's how recent it is. And that gives them an edge because they have the insider knowledge, and automatically the questions are highly updated. So whenever you're studying for your senior level interview, automatically you're preparing basically on really fresh knowledge that is coming. And finally, they have hundreds of customer testimonials, and I know people that have gotten 45 to 100% salary increases just after taking this course because they went into depth, and automatically they were able to get a very high ROI on this $850 knowledge investment. Another value proposition that I was able to find was lifetime access. So unlike Exponent, unlike other PM exercises and other PM prep courses that operate on a subscription-based model, Product Alliance gives you lifetime access. So you pay $850, automatically you get access to their entire library for perpetually, honestly speaking, for forever. And the best thing about this is that when you're interviewing for the long haul, because you have to interview for your junior level position, you might be changing role towards a senior level, towards a mid-senior level. Now, you don't want to keep purchasing more and more courses every single time you have to interview again, which is why I think in the long run, it's a much, much better investment. And then secondly, another value proposition that I was able to find was that Product Alliance consistently updates their question banks. And I've experienced this firsthand because when I purchased the course, a week and a half later, I got an email that they've launched a new TikTok course that now I have access to, and I can actually just go back, I can study that course from, and I can get the latest information of what they're up to. So automatically, I think it's kind of like I was very pleasantly surprised that, one-time payment and all the future content I get access to instantly. Now, another one, since AI is taking on, is the center stage, and product people are, in a really critical position. And I found Product Alliance's AI strategy questions and courses to be extremely, extremely powerful. They're getting updated every single week. They're becoming more and more relevant. And anyone who's thinking about going out and interviewing for AI product management roles, I think I wouldn't recommend anything better than Product Alliance, because their focus, their insider knowledge really helps you crack the interview process. As for my final thoughts on Product Alliance, the price tag is $850. So if you're looking for an internship, then it doesn't really make sense for you to actually go with Product Alliance. Okay. I think it's much better for you to go for Exponent or cheaper options, or read books, study frameworks. And then once you're in a mid-level position, that's when, and you want to go into depth, that's when you want to explore Product Alliance. Uh, at the same time, if you're a mid-level or a senior level product manager who really wants to land a job at these big tech companies, that's where you need Product Alliance because of their company specific courses. Okay. You get insider information, you get up to dated question bank, which already puts you ahead of the 90% of the candidates who are still studying from Exponent and from free resources, because the companies know that these questions are being consistently repeated, right? But since Product Alliance has an insider knowledge, that will give you an edge when you're interviewing, and most probably will help you land your dream job much faster. And even if you think about the ROI investment on this, PM roles technically pay, but they're six-figure roles specifically in the US. And if you're paying $850 for a lifetime access, I think it's 100x. You can easily get 200x return on your investment, because this increases the chances of you securing a job. And I just believe that it's worth the investment because the ROI is significantly higher. And on top of that, since you're getting lifetime access, then automatically you don't have to worry about it. It's just a one-time investment where Product Alliance will consistently update their question banks. And no matter where you are in the later stages of your career, if you ever want to switch, you'll always get latest information, latest questions, latest thought leadership about what these companies are working towards, so that you can best prepare yourself and eventually land your dream job. Now, I know there are people who are watching this, and you might be thinking that I can't pay $850 for a Product Alliance, or I can't pay $144 for Exponent. So don't worry. I have 3 books for you, which I really think can get you 60% there. Now, why am I recommending books? It's because of the depth. Okay, you can actually go and watch a lot of YouTube videos as well, but the depth is what separates you from the crowd. So I have 3 recommendations for you. Number 1 is Inspired by Marty Cagan. And this is one of the books that every great PM that I've talked to has read this one. Because this is essential, and this talks about the fundamentals from product discovery frameworks to how to build products from a customer-centric approach. So I think anyone who really wants to learn the fundamentals should read this book. The second one that always comes up in my conversations with other PMs has been Cracking the PM Interview by Gail McDowell. Now, this is a little bit outdated, and this is 11 years old, and it shows. But the good news is a lot of the behavior interview questions that are in this book are still very much relevant. But at the same time, you really understand how the product development process has evolved over the years, and you get a really good appreciation of how far product has come from where it was 11, 12 years ago. Okay, but the bad news is this book does not reflect anything that happens on FANG interviews now, because they're just much more complicated. Okay, and then the third one is Decode and Conquer by Lewis Lane, and this is a classic book that actually defined the circles methodology of building product and answering PM interview questions. It's a pretty helpful book if you really want to understand metrics, how they're defined, how they actually come up in assessing product quality. So I would highly recommend that you also go through this book and spend some time. It's a little bit lengthy, to be really honest, but I think it's a little bit lengthy, a little bit dense. But I really believe that it's depth that you want to go after. So I really think it would be really helpful for you guys to actually study these three books that I'll highly recommend. So overall, I would highly recommend Decode and Conquer, and then just read Inspired. And then if you do have time, read Cracking the PM Interview, because I think it's just really helpful for you to actually know how product evolved and why are we where we are at the moment. Okay, so good starting points. And if you're able to read these books and then along with all the free content that is out there, then automatically you have a really high chance, high shot at getting an interview and basically cracking the interview at these top tech companies, including the Magnificent Seven, including the FANG, including the top tech startups. So thank you so much for joining in. I know it was a lengthy video, but it took a lot of time, a lot of research to get this thing done. And I really hope this was useful. This was a little bit unconventional because it had a lot of depth in it. And I really hope that you found it valuable. And if you're preparing for your PM interviews, good luck. And I really hope you found this video valuable. Thank you so much.